The body of knowledge within neuroscience and brain chemistry has demonstrated that social interaction, a sense of belonging, feeling of being cared for, is a deterrent for suicide and assists greatly with PTSD and reducing anxiety and depression. What seems to be a common occurrence, it happens a couple times a year now. It was part of my motivation to really start this series. See flash across any of your social media platforms, a buddy, a friend, someone you knew in high school had just taken their life. And the first thing that pops in your head when you see that, when is the last time I talked to him? Is there something that I could have done? Or why didn't I talk to him? Had I talked to them or prevent what had happened? You know, a couple of the recent ones that, Justin Templeton, he was a great sapper in the 6.6 engineer company that I commanded, and he was in 2nd Brigade, 25th Infantry Division. Because I strive to be friends with a lot of people. A lot of officers didn't want to be friends with people on Facebook, but especially once I leave the unit, I start to really friend and things like that. Maybe talk to him, had an opportunity to talk to him. And then like Jeremy McAfee was another one from the same company, great guy. And I was like, was I spending my time on social media just focusing on family? Could I have talked to him? Tyrone O'Neill, he carried the radio everywhere I went when we deployed. Great guys. We walked around in the Iraqi dust. He was in my striker everywhere we'd go. He'd get yelled at by the first sergeant because we would take pictures and he wouldn't have gloves on. When I saw that he had died, and I looked on his Facebook, I was like, he lives in Lumberton, North Carolina. That's close to where I live. Why didn't I look this guy up? I mean, just see how he's doing. Invite him to church barbecue or something like that. Another real good friend that I went to college with, Brock Tatum. It's been a few years ago that he killed himself. In fact, I'm wearing Southern Utah University hat because I was thinking about him. So he was in ROTC with me. He was my neighbor, lived downstairs. He was at our house all the time. I was at his house all the time. Real good friend. When he killed himself, I thought back in my head, when did I talk to him last? And had I had the opportunity to talk to him, could I had prevented it? When you look at suicide, and after this series is done, I'm going to go a little more in depth of what happens in the brain when someone commits suicide, and understanding some of those variables that are genetics and the way you were raised, kind of like early life adversity and things like that can make you more prone. And I want to go into that, and so it could maybe potentially help people understand, hey, I'm prone, so I need to do more. And I'm going to do that later on some other videos. But when you think, why did this person commit suicide? When you understand what's going on in the head, you can understand that parts of the brain are hijacking and taking over. And a lot of these tips with the emergency preparedness for when those times may come. And one thing for this tip here, this goes for those, and those, I'm not going to say who don't do what I'm going to tell you to do. Make an effort to reach out and talk to everybody. I found that a majority of the studies shown that social interaction triggers different portions of the brain, allows you to have a feeling of self-belonging and loved, which decreases the level of stress. Reaching back and talking to old friends and groups that you belong to also helps as well. The majority of it, of reaching out to people, will actually benefit you and that person. So how can you do this? So something I've kind of started doing lately, so I started taking all these videos and photos. I would find one that I liked with somebody, and I'd just throw it to them and stuff like that. So then I would just start talking and things like that. Because on social media, on Facebook, I still have friends from everywhere. I mean, some that were just associates, but you can lock down systems to where when you do posts, it's only family, internal, and things like that. But a lot of times I'm reaching out to somebody for work or whatever. But having that contact is really good. And I think the only way we're going to... So what I want you to do is strive daily to pick a friend, someone that you haven't talked to in a long time, and reach out to them and just say, hey, how's it going? And if you have an old photo of them, hey, I found this photo, how are you doing? And then just talk in a positive way and start a conversation. Try and avoid negativity in your conversation. We want to maintain happiness. Try to avoid negativity. They're talking about how life is rough. Focus on, well, how are you going to grow from this? Only focus on the good things and how much you miss them and things like that. So that is a challenge. That's what I want you to always be doing. Reach out to everybody. You never, like, I could turn this camera off, go on Facebook, and there'll be another name of someone that I know that now just taken their life. And maybe I could have potentially helped, just by talking, just trying to get their focus on something else, just anything possible. So I challenge you every day, just scroll down your feed and just say something to somebody. I think the photo thing is real good. You just pop up a photo and you say, hey, I found this photo of you. And then, hey, how's it going? So that is your challenge. Just talk to somebody, find out how they're doing. Backed up with studies, it shows that this interaction does reduce the risk and stress and anxiety. So what I want you to do is strive daily to pick a friend, someone that you haven't talked to in a long time, and reach out to them and just say, hey, how's it going? And you may also just be able to help them out